Thanks everybody, back with another video. This is appeals court holds rehearing on DOJ effort to drop Flynn case. Yeah, so the appeals court, they was holding a rehearing on DOJ effort to drop Flynn case. And of course, as you can see here is General Flynn himself. He was in prison for a while because of the Obama administration. They had tricked him into things that he didn't want to do, so they lied to him, the Obama administration. So everything that they said they was gonna do, they did it to him. So now General Flynn is trying really hard to get his case dropped, or his hearings, or his things dropped. A federal appeals court Tuesday heard arguments over whether a district judge overstepped his authority by not initially accepting the Justice Department's controversial push to drop its criminal case against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Yes, so the federal court's appeal was heard today. Arguments over whether a district judge overstepped his authority. Yes, Judge Sullivan did overstep his authority because Michael Flynn wanted to testify. They said, no, you can't. So, and they had to get him out of the way. So the Obama administration and Obama himself, they said, wait a minute, we can't allow this man to testify against us. We got to get this man out of the way so we can get to Donald Trump and make him take the fall for everything. And that's exactly what happened. They got him, they tricked him, and they said, oh, well, we're going to get Michael Flynn out of the way. So we're going to say, oh, well, he's got all this evidence. We're not going to allow this man to testify. And this is how the Obama administration was doing it. Even Obama was in charge of all this. Late last month, the full D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals threw out 3 judge panels 2-1 ruling that would have ordered D.C. District Judge Emmett Sullivan to accept the Justice Department's request to drop the case. So now they wanted to throw out the 2-1 panel of ruling that would have ordered D.C. District Judge Emmett Sullivan to accept the Justice Department's request to drop the case. And this happened last month. So now that Judge Sullivan has really overstepped his authority, now he has no choice but to hear this again, and then of course again they're going to railroad him. No, not this time. Michael Flynn needs a different lawyer. Judge Sullivan is a deep state Democrat crooked judge, because that's how these crooks are. They cover for each other. They say, okay, we got you, Obama. We're going to make sure General Flynn goes to jail. We're going to make sure he stays there for a long time, and this and that. And that's exactly what happened. They railroaded him. In Tuesday's hearing, though, several judges appeared to express concern over taking the extraordinary step of intervening in the case before Sullivan holds a scheduled hearing to consider arguments on the DOJ's motion. Okay, so Tuesday's hearing, which is today, though several judges appeared to express concern over taking the extraordinary step of intervening in the case before Sullivan holds a scheduled hearing. Well, these other judges, they need to intervene, because what Judge Sullivan did was totally wrong. He railroaded General Flynn. General Flynn pleaded guilty to a lie that he never did. They say, no, he was on the phone with Russia, and when it was Obama the whole time and his administration, Sally Yates can't get her story straight because she's got 20 different stories about this and that. Then they're trying to railroad William Barr for something he didn't do, saying all this and that. I mean, this whole thing was way out of control way before then, way before the hearings had ever came around. It's the core of any judge's job to access case and view the strongest arguments that can be made on both sides. D.C. Circuit Judge Cornelia Pillard said in an exchange with Flynn's attorney Sidney Powell, "Your position is no, he can't hear both sides from the law. He has to drop the case like a hot potato without advisory closing arguments." Of course, it was all one-sided. It was all about James Comey. It was all about Obama. It was all about his administration. It was all about Sally Yates. It was all about that whole side by themselves. They didn't let General Flynn speak or nothing. They said, no, we don't want to hear General Flynn's explanation about anything. He's guilty for what he's done. He's been doing this and doing that. Trump has to fire him, this and that. I mean, seriously, come on. This whole Department of Justice system is all screwed up because of one side show, all about the Obama administration. And of course, you got the D.C. Circuit Judge Cornelia Pillard said in an exchange with Flynn's attorney Sidney Powell, "Your position is no. He cannot hear both sides from the law." Well, why can't he hear both sides from the law when it's all a one-side pony show of everything that is going on, and General Flynn cannot say nothing, and he had all the evidence. General Flynn knows where all the dead bodies are. He knows where they are. He just never got a chance to say anything because this Department of Justice would not allow him to talk. Flynn pleaded guilty in 2017 to lying to the FBI about his contracts with the Russian ambassador during the presidential transition, but later sought to reverse his plea, alleging wrongdoing by the agents who interviewed him. Attorney General William Barr earlier this year moved to drop the case after he said a review uncovered evidence that undercut the legitimacy of the FBI's investigation into Flynn at the time of his interview. So Flynn pleaded guilty in 2017 to lying to the FBI, but he was tricked into lying. The Obama administration lied to him. Obama himself lied to him, saying, "Oh, you gotta we know about we want you to plead guilty," saying that you were lying to the FBI about his contacts with the Russian ambassador. So that's what they did. They railroaded him. They lied to him and everything. They even lied to Roger Stone, but that's a different story. But this is about General Flynn. They said, well, he was on the phone with the FBI or with the Russian ambassador, when it was really Obama himself who made over thousands of calls to the Russian ambassador. And yet General Flynn had to take the fall for Obama so that he can't go to jail for anything. And we know that it was all a lie on Obama's part, because General Flynn was an innocent person who had all the evidence of everything. So yeah, here, look, this is what the Obama administration has been doing all this time. And when he was going to expose it, they said, nope, you can't do that. We're going to put you in prison. So this is what they did. And in the meantime, General William Barr earlier this year moved to drop the case after he said a review uncovered evidence that undercut the legitimacy of the FBI's investigation into Flynn at the time of his interview. And so this is what William Barr had done. But William Barr knew the truth too. He knew what the Obama administration was about too. And of course they're going to try to say, oh, well, William Barr is a murderer, this and that. No, he's not. Because he knows everything, just like just like General Flynn did, knew everything. In Tuesday's hearing, acting Solicitor General Jeffrey Wall revealed Barr's motivation for seeking to drop the case was based on information that has been made public as well as other certain undisclosed information. Okay, so you got Tuesday's hearing, acting General Jeffrey Wall had revealed Barr's motivation seeking to drop the case was based on information. Of course, William Barr had a lot of information. He had all the truth about everything. But yet, Judge Sullivan is still going to refuse to hear it because he said, no, we're going to put General Flynn back in prison. No, you can't do that because he's already been there. Donald Trump that was a mistake, had pardoned General Flynn. And then, of course, they're going to do everything they can to put him back in jail again. They're going to say, oh, well, look, we need to put this General Flynn back in prison. No, you can't do that because he's already been there. The Attorney General based that decision that judgment on the basis of lots of information. Some of it is public and fleshed out in the motion, and some of it is not, Wall said. Yeah, so some of the information is public and some of it's not. The ones that are not are going to be the ones that are going to be harder to get to because they're hidden. And of course, they're not going to disclose any of it, so that's why it's undisclosed. So they're not going to let they're not going to let the public know about it because they know that it's still yet developing of all these accusations of what they did to General Flynn. Barr has previously said the review of Flynn's case is incorporated, at least in a broader investigation by U.S. Attorney John Durham into the origins of the Russia probe. And of course, Durham needs to be thrown in prison as well because he knew what was going on. The FBI knew what was going on, but they said, no, we're not going to get into it, this and that. So they said, well, fine. But John Durham into the origins of the Russia probe. Of course he was a part of the Russia probe. That's why General Flynn was going to expose every single detail of what the Obama administration was doing. And he had all the evidence right in front of him. But Judge Sullivan said, no, we don't want to hear your evidence. We're only going to listen to Obama and his administration. And after Judge Sullivan did that, there goes General Flynn right off to prison. And of course, they haven't heard from him. And of course, they haven't heard from him with his case in over, 3 years? They said, oh, well, guess what? We're going to make sure he goes and you guys will be safe. Why do you think they're covering up all this evidence of the crimes that the Obama administration did? Because they're allowed to get away with it? No, they're not above the law here. The DOJ and Flynn's legal team have since accused Sullivan of improperly in his appointment of an outside former judge tasked with presenting arguments against the Justice Department, as well as elevating whether Flynn may have committed perjury by revoking his previous guilty plea. Now, how can General Flynn had committed perjury in his case? That's impossible. General Flynn had never committed perjury. All he wanted to do was tell the truth, but they said, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed. You're going away. Now, the DOJ and Flynn's legal team have since accused Sullivan of appropriately in his appointment of an outside former judge. Yes, because Sullivan was hiring another judge was hiring another person who was a former judge, had interfered in with all of this, and of course they were making deals with each other. They're saying, Judge Sullivan say, look, I got a deal for you. If you could do this and do that, then we could railroad General Flynn. And that's exactly what they did. General Flynn is a defendant without a prosecutor, Flynn's attorney Sidney Powell said Tuesday. Only the Department of Justice can decide the public interest and myriad factors inherent in pursuing a prosecution. So General Flynn is a defendant without a prosecutor, and this is what Sidney Powell said Tuesday, in other words, today. Only the Department of Justice can decide the public interest and myriad factors inherent in pursuing a prosecution. So hopefully that General Flynn will be free. But if not, then you know what's up. Judge Sullivan is over there sending him back to prison again. Powell argues that the court should not simply overrule Sullivan, but ensure he has no further involvement in overseeing Flynn's case moving forward. So Powell did argue that the court should not simply overrule Sullivan. Of course, they're going to do it anyways. They're not going to care what Powell says. They'll say, oh, we don't care what she says. We're going to overrule Judge Sullivan and go on with the case anyways. And we're going to make sure we're not going to see this case go forward. But ensure he has no further involvement in overseeing Flynn's case moving forward. Of course, Judge Sullivan is making it difficult for Flynn's case to move forward because they don't want him to move forward. They said, no, we're going to keep him held back as long as we can. But what they don't know is that Donald Trump knows everything about what's going on too. So there are no circumstances now under which Judge Sullivan can continue on this case because his bias demands his disqualification. It's just the very appearance of bias is enough to demand his disqualification, Powell said. So there was no circumstances now under which Judge Sullivan can continue on this case because his bias demands his disqualification and just the very appearance of bias. So Judge Sullivan has been biased the whole time. He said, oh no, we don't care what you say. We're going to do what we want to do. We're going to get General Flynn out of the way so the Obama administration can go after Donald Trump. And that's exactly what happened. At times, she received skeptical responses from judges on the panel, including D.C. Circuit Judge Thomas Griffin, who said that it wasn't a judge's job to simply be a rubber stamp when an inserted party puts forward a motion, like the Justice Department did when it sought to drop the case. And of course, Judge Sullivan was a rubber stamp. He said, hey, well, here we go. Boom, guilty. Take him out of here, boys. And that's what happened too. They just had to railroad General Flynn into everything that he said. Oh, he was on the phone with the Russians, this Russian ambassador, this and that, and General Flynn did no such thing. There was never a conspiracy with the Russian ambassador at all. If anything, there's plenty of conspiracies against the Obama administration and Obama himself because all of it was all about them. this whole time, and why you think the Judge Sullivan was protecting the Obama administration and Obama himself, because they had made a deal by paying some serious money. Do you have a strong case? Griffith said, in that case, why not simply appeal? If Sullivan decides not to dismiss the case, well, of course Flynn has a strong case. Because he's got every single evidence in front of him, and he knows where the dead bodies are. He knows where they are. But they're just not letting him talk at all. They're just keeping him muffled, and they put a gag order on him, saying, oh, no, we're going to put a gag order on General Flynn so he can't talk. And I pray that the gag order does come off General Flynn so that he could spill everything out. Get all these crooked judges out of the way. They didn't come after the Obama administration and Obama himself. Griffith later added that one of the primary reasons judges normally have discretion to decide whether to accept or deny motions is so they could examine cases of favoritism for politically powerful defendants. And of course the judges are going to favor people. They're not going to listen to Flynn. They're going to listen to the other side. It's their favorite people. The Democrats are criminals. Of course they're going to believe the one side and not listen to the other side. And this is what Griffith later added, that one of the primary reasons judges normally have discretion to decide whether to accept or deny motions. Well, they have a right. The judges need to listen to both sides, not just one side. You need to listen to both sides. But no, it never came out that way. In a blistering line of questioning to Wall, the acting Solicitor General Judge Pillard argued the pattern of facts with the DOJ's extraordinary move to reverse itself that Flynn could face justice for lying to the FBI seemed to clearly justify Sullivan's initial hesitance to accept its motion as face value. There is no way that General Flynn would be going back to prison. And plus they're trying to trick him into saying, oh, he lied to the FBI again. See how these crooked people are in the Department of Justice Service are? In a blistering line of questioning to Wall, the acting Solicitor General Judge Pillard argued the pattern of facts with the DOJ's extraordinary move to reverse itself that Flynn should face justice for lying to the FBI. I would say drop the case right there and right now, but knowing them, they're not going to do it. They're going to say, oh, well, we're going to get him to face justice, and we're going to see what he knows about everything. Of course, General Flynn knows everything. He's been collecting evidence for years. And this is way before Donald Trump even got in the office. The district judge, at the government's urging, accepted Flynn's guilty plea as faculty supported by the government's evidence. Sullivan didn't dream up this plea of guilty, Pillard said, and the government demonstrably said it could meet our burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. He looked at that, he scrutinized that, and now you're insisting that the district court contradict an order that he previously granted. He got on board, and now you're saying actually never mind? Alright, so the district judge, at the government's urging, accept Flynn's guilty plea. Of course, he was tricked into that because by Obama and his administration. And supported by the government's evidence, Sullivan didn't dream up this guilty plea. Of course he didn't dream it up, because he was railroaded into saying, oh, you got to plead guilty. Oh, judge, I plead guilty to this and for lying to the FBI. Of course they're going to make him lie. They're going to force him into something he didn't do. And this is what Pillard said. And the government demonstrably said it could meet our burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. He looked at that, he scrutinized that, and now you're insisting that the district court contradict an order that he previously granted? He got on board, and now you're saying actually never mind. So yeah, now they're saying actually never mind. So what else was there to do? Sullivan's attorney Beth Wilkinson has noted that Sullivan had not decided one way or the other on whether to sign off on the Justice Department's motion to dismiss Flynn's case, and that his motivation in appointing an outside judge was to simply hear all relevant arguments. So Sullivan's attorney Beth Wilkinson, she's an attorney for Sullivan's, has noted that Sullivan has not decided one way or the other on whether to sign off on the Justice Department's motion to dismiss Flynn's case. Well, he better sign off on it, because General Flynn needs that case dropped. He needs it dropped now. So this way he can get the gag order off of him and start snitching on everybody, because that's what he's waiting for. And the longer they keep stalling General Flynn for not speaking out, the more angrier that General Flynn is going to get, because he knows everything of what happened. And Judge Sullivan is just keeps stalling and stalling and stalling, saying, oh, look, we're going to keep stalling until we get this man back in prison again. Well, they need to drop this case now. That's what they need to. And that his motivation of appointing an outside judge was to simply hear all relevant arguments. So they had an outside judge to bank on, because now the former judge, yeah, he needs to hear both sides, because one side was a pony show. It was just all one-sided, all about the Obama administration and Obama himself. So now Judge Sullivan better do the right thing by dropping Flynn's case, so General Flynn could start snitching on everybody that was going on. Because this is what he's waiting for. General Flynn is not to be played with, and they have messed with the wrong person, literally. Leave your comments below. I am out.